Hello everyone, welcome to today's video of Easy Neuro. Today we will be talking about the driving force and membrane potentials in a neuron. Okay, so like in the last video we discussed about the resting membrane potential. So today we will continue that topic and try to understand some more concepts about the resting membrane potential. Okay, so as we discussed that there is a constant flow of the ions across the cell membrane of a neuron. Okay, and this is actually maintained because of two types of gradients which occur. All right, so first is the electrochemical gradient, which is basically when the charge of the ion dictates the movement of the ion. Okay, so it basically the charge across the membranes will determine where the ions should move. Okay, for example, if inside the cell membrane there is a negative charge, so it will attract more positive ions from the outside. Okay, so that is electrochemical gradient. The next is the concentration gradient, which is when the ions move from higher concentration to a lower concentration. Okay, so for example, if inside the cell there is a higher concentration of a particular ion, so that ion will move out of the cell. Okay, out of the cell because outside there is a lower concentration of it. Okay, so that is called the concentration gradient of the ion. Okay, now the ion movement is also determined by the driving force. Okay, so driving force is basically a measure of the electrochemical force which tends the ion to move across the cell membranes basically. Okay, so every ion has some force on it, and that is the driving force, okay, which helps it to move across the membranes. All right, and it is calculated as the so driving force is calculated as the resting membrane potential minus the equilibrium potential of an ion. Okay, so resting membrane potential, as we discussed, that is the potential across the membrane of a neuron when it is unstimulated, right? And equilibrium potential is the potential for one particular ion when there is no net movement of it across the membranes. All right, so that will determine the driving force. And obviously, higher the driving force on an ion, higher will be its movement across the membranes. Okay, now there's another concept, that is membrane potential, right? So as we discussed that equilibrium potential is the potential for one ion, but in reality the cell membrane is permeable to different ions at one time. Okay, so there's potassium, there is sodium which is coming in, going out, there's chloride. Okay, so there are a lot of ions which are taking part in maintaining the potentials across the membrane at one time. Okay, so the voltage across the cell membrane, taking into account all the ions which are permeable through that membrane, is called the membrane potential. Okay, and it is calculated using the Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz voltage equation. Okay, so it's basically an expanded form of the Nernst equation. Okay, so it is calculated as the membrane potential is equal to RT by F. So R is the universal gas constant, T is the temperature in Kelvin, divided by F, which is Faraday's constant, ln. So we have permeability of K into the concentration of potassium outside, that is extracellularly, plus the permeability of sodium into its concentration outside, plus the permeability of chloride into its concentration inside, divided by the permeability of potassium into its concentration inside, plus permeability of sodium into its concentration inside, plus the permeability of chloride into its concentration outside. Okay, so permeability is basically the ease with which the ion flows across the cell membrane, right? and its concentrations, as we discussed in our last video, we wrote the concentrations of the different ions extracellularly and intracellularly, so those will come here. Okay, and if you actually calculate this part, it will come out to be around 61.3. okay, so you can also write it as Pm equals 61.3 log of this whole thing the same way. Okay, so 61.3 is in a simplified form. You can also write it like this way: 61.3 log of this whole thing. All right, now let's understand another important concept, which is how actually the resting membrane potential is maintained and why it is negative. Okay, so we discussed that the resting membrane potential is around -65 to -70 millivolts, right? Now, there are two important channels which are responsible for this. First is the leak channels. Okay, so this is again a diagram of the cell membrane, okay, a lipid bilayer. This is the extracellular part, and this is our intracellular part. Okay, and there are ions flowing outside and inside. Okay, now leak channels are those channels which are always open. Okay, so these channels are always open. Okay, for example, let's take these two as potassium leak channels. Okay, and this, for example, as the sodium leak channel. Okay, and what these leak channels do is that they allow the movement of ions in the direction of the concentration gradient. Alright, which means that they allow the ions to move from their higher concentration to their lower concentration. Alright, now we know that intracellularly potassium is higher. Alright, potassium is in a higher concentration inside the cell, and outside the cell sodium is higher, right? So what these leak channels will do is that they will allow more potassium to go outside the cell. Okay, so it will allow potassium ions to go outside the cell. Why? Because their concentration is higher here, so they will go to their lower concentration side. And the exact opposite of that will be the case for the sodium leak channel. They will allow more sodium to come inside the cell. Alright, now what happens is that in the cell membrane, the number of leak channels for potassium is more than the number of sodium leak channels. Okay, so that means there is more potassium which is going outside the cell than the number of sodium coming in. Okay, so there is a more discharge of the positive ions, right? Now because more positive ions are going out, therefore the inside will become negative, and that is why the RMP is negative. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why the resting membrane potential is negative, because more positive ions are going out. Okay, now to counter the effect of more positive ions going out, okay, because the resting membrane potential has to be maintained, there is another channel which comes into play, which is called the sodium potassium pump. Okay, so let's take this as the sodium potassium pump. So what they do is they use ATP, okay, to allow 3 sodium ions to go outside. Okay, so it allows 3 sodium ions to go outside and 2 potassium ions to come inside the cell. Okay, so there is movement of the ions against concentration gradient, right? So there's movement of the ions against the concentration gradient, and therefore they have to use ATP. Okay, so it is an active transport because they're using energy to allow the ions to move against their concentration gradient. Okay, so they allow 3 sodium to go out and 2 potassium to come in. Okay, now again, the number of positive ions coming inside is less than the number of positive ions going outside, right? Because 2 potassium is coming in and 3 sodium are going out. Okay, so obviously the number of ions, positive ions coming inside is less, and therefore the inside is resting membrane potential is negative. Okay, so this is also another reason why the resting membrane potential is negative. Okay, and these are the two important channels which allow the resting membrane potential to be maintained. Okay, so they both act opposite to each other, okay, and help in the maintenance of this resting membrane potential. Okay, so this was today's video. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, and also share and subscribe to my channel. If you have any suggestions or any questions, you can write in the comment section below. Till then, thank you very much and see you in the next video.